Finally, Dimple, after all the chaos and after waiting for weeks, like we are here, and I'm super excited to have a conversation with you. So, without wasting time, Dimple, let's start. And why don't you introduce yourself about the work that you do and your career journey?
Yeah, sure, Rahul. Thank you for having me. I'll start with my introduction and the background.
Sure.
So, I am Dimple Monde. I work as an R&D staff engineer in Synopsys. Previously, I worked at Intel, and I have total 7+ years of professional experience. My career journey began with an undergraduate degree in electronics and communication from a state university.
Mm-hmm.
And later I pursued masters and then ended up in semiconductor. So I'll just give you a little background that how I chose to be here. So first is why did I choose EC? So it all started with a simple curiosity that how do chips actually work? So it's all about microelectronics, right? And I still remember the first time I interacted with a computer my father bought when I was in school and saw that thin desktop that sparked my fascination because early computers were very bulky and large machines.
Hmm.
And one
Yes.
advantage is growing up, I had the unique advantage of being surrounded by science because my father was a physicist. So books on electronics and physics were always around. And from a very young age, I was looking at those books, and actually those books sparked my fascination. Now, though I had that inner drive, I must admit my college wasn't a top tier institute, and I lacked the industry exposure.
Mm-hmm.
So when I realized this, I wanting to bridge that gap and secure a meaningful role in the field, and I made a conscious decision to pursue the higher studies. So to improve my chances of getting a job, when I was preparing for GATE examination, I actually got so interested in microelectronic, and hence VLSI as a MTech I choose. So I pursued
Got
my
it.
master's in VLSI from VIT Vellore. And in my second year, when companies started visiting for internships and placements, I was fortunate enough to secure an internship at Intel, and it was a really great opportunity that gave me the real industry exposure working with some of the industry's top leaders. In Intel was a truly valuable experience for me. So I think
Nice.
there I gained a great deal of learning, Rahul, throughout this course. So yeah, I think yeah, that's a little background about me.
Yeah, nice. Amazing, Dimple. So, you
Yeah.
mentioned a book. What was that name of that book?
Okay. So the books which always around me in terms of
Mm-hmm.
physics, if you're asking, of course, there were because my father was a physicist. Apart from that, I had some of this Agni Ki Udan by APJ Abdul Kalam, right?
Got it.
So these were the books which from a very younger age I had the access to. And
Hmm.
I would like to mention one more thing that beyond my technical work, I am also drawn to the artistic side. Okay. And I'm also passionate about the mentorship and supporting young minds. So I serve as a mentor for STEM
Nice.
students, and I'm part of the FFE, which is Foundation for Excellence program at Synopsys, where I guide and support students from undergraduation at different universities, Rahul.
Great, great. That's amazing, Dimple, really.
Thank you.
So about the Intel, like
Mm-hmm.
Dimple, when you cracked the internship, so did you prepare specifically for Intel, or it's just the natural thing that you were just focusing on your work or education and you just cleared the internship in the first attempt? What was the experience like going to the Intel and the process?
Not at the so Intel, of course, was my second company. First was MediaTek. I didn't get
Okay.
selected there. The second was Intel, and I was preparing in common in general. It was not specific to Intel because when I was fighting for this internship, right, it's like you when you are pursuing MTech, you should know all the fundamentals, all the basics, right? You should be very clear about all those technical basics. So I was preparing for
Okay.
that. I had all about I think 5 rounds in different
Mm-hmm.
business units in Intel. And then that's how I got selected for an internship, Rahul. So
Got
when
it.
if you ask specific preparation, it's generic for all the placements, like for
Hmm.
all the companies, right?
Got it. Got
Yeah.
it. So, Dimple, you have worked with really, like, say, top tech giants. So,
Mm-hmm.
how was the experience working with them? Like, have you got to learn something new from the people working there?
Okay. So before I share more, Rahul, I'd like to give a quick insight into my roles at Synopsys
Mm-hmm.
and Intel, as they have shaped my journey from both the design and the EDA side. So Synopsys is on like the EDA side, and Intel is a design company, right? So at
Right.
Synopsys, I am part of a foundry team where we focus on achieving the PPA, which is power, performance, and area. This
Mm-hmm.
closure for high performance designs using Fusion Compiler, and I always work on the advanced technology nodes. So let's say, which is not there in the industry because I work directly with the foundries, right? So, and I
Got
work
it.
very closely with the R&D teams and foundry partners. So I am working often ahead of the industry. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's my role in Synopsys. Now, because this gives me a front row seat, right, that how cutting edge chips are optimized even before they hit the mainstream. Now, previously
Got
at
it.
Intel, I worked as a PD engineer, focusing on complete design closure, like
Mm-hmm.
from the synthesis till GDS. So I was ensuring timing, area, power, all this come together smoothly in a real working chips. So I think having experience in both design company and EDA, it is a
Mm-hmm.
well-rounded perspective for me, like seeing both sides of the same coin. So now I
Got it.
understand how to design a chip, but also how critical the EDA tools are in improving and optimizing the design
Mm.
process.
Got it. So that is nice, Dimple. So for our audience, can you explain how a processor is made and in all the process, what is your role? Like what you do?
Okay. So making a processor, Rahul, it goes through several steps.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the first one is architecture planning.
Okay.
I will tell you the bullets first, and
Yeah, yeah,
then
sure.
I'll just give you the lame explanation about how actually each step work and where I
Mm-hmm.
was as
Okay.
as
Yeah.
a part of this. So first is the architectural planning, and then the RTL design, functional verification. Then comes the synthesis, the PD, which is physical design, then fabrication and packaging.
Hmm.
So before doing anything, Rahul, let's say architecture planning, it's like building a house, right? What you do, we actually have the plan that what will be the area of that, what will be the things which will be there in this, like how many rooms and everything, right? We do planning. So that's the same thing. Like we have to decide what the processor will do, its application, its speed, features, some power limits, all these things comes under the architectural planning. So once this is done, then comes the RTL design. I hope the whoever from this electronics backgrounds will know
Mm-hmm.
this term. What is RTL? So register
Yeah,
transfer logic.
I,
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
So from the non EC backgrounds or a non microelectronics background will
Mm.
have some issue with understanding these term, but this is whoever is aware of the basics will easily get to know. So engineers write code in Verilog or VHDL that describes how the processor work at the logic level. So this is what the RTL design means. First the planning is done, and then we write the code. And then it comes the functional verification, means before building it physically, I mean before making any chip physically, the design is being tested in simulations again on the tool to ensure that it actually works in every possible condition, right? Then the synthesis. So in synthesis, Rahul, this RTL code which I have talked
Mm-hmm.
about, right, we convert it into gates and the logic
Okay.
cells. You know about the logic gates, right?
Yes. Yes.
And or yeah, the circuitry. And then comes the PD part, which is physical design, and that's what my role was in Intel.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to do this end to end from synthesis, right? When I got the code from like the RTL, right? I used to synthesize it, like changing it, converting it into gates and logic cells, and then the PD part, where you do the design is placed and routed. So again, in lame language, it's like you have to decide a floor plan for a chip, where will be the pins, where will be the ports, and then you have to do the proper placement of all the transistors, arranging all components, and then the routing. It's like wires, right? Laying out the
Mm.
wires and everything. And once this is done with all the checks, it goes to the fabrication, where it is being sent to the foundry. You say like TSMC or Intel to be manufactured into an actual real chip, and then the
Got it.
packaging and testing. Yes,
That's a huge information, Dimple. At least for
yes.
me, I have to like rewatch it just to digest what you said. But yeah, like I hope that's a great information that you have shared.
Yeah.
And Dimple, considering the pace of AI, what do you think? Like, is there any scope of VLSI in India in terms of jobs?
Okay. See, so the VLSI India, VLSI field in India is
Mm-hmm.
growing rapidly, Rahul. So
Okay.
driven by all the global demands for electronics across the industries, you say AI, automobiles, everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this, of course, the demand is growing. Other thing is India has become a global design hub for companies like Intel, Qualcomm, AMD,
Okay.
Nvidia, right? And one big scope of VLSI in India is due to the government support. So from 2021 till date, we have come a very long way with all the investments in setting up this fabrication labs and MOU signed from supply chain with different countries like Singapore and etc.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, this program is positioning India as a global hub for electronics. And the Semicon India program. So
Mm-hmm.
while this fabrication is still very early in the stages, all the domains of VLSI are booming with excellent career opportunities. That is, I'm
Okay.
really sure about. And I think recently also some of the semiconductor units are being approved by the cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And India, the five semiconductor development projects are already there with is in Gujarat, Assam. I think, yeah.
Okay. And Dimple, if we talk about the scope,
Mm-hmm.
then is it only for experienced person or like someone who is in school or in first or second year of
Mm-hmm.
his college? Is there any scope for them also, or
Okay.
is this field is only for experienced?
No. So, of course, the basic, whatever the education or the degrees are required is there, Rahul, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, this background, like EC or whoever is from electricals, and all those, like the backgrounds will always be there. The people who are doing engineering, that
Mm-hmm.
is there, right? The basic 12th, at least the students have to do. And then
Right.
they have to choose the path that if they want to get into the semiconductor industry, VLSI industry, then they have to build their career according to that. So, as I
Got it.
did, right, I did engineering and then I did their master's, which is in VLSI, and that's how I entered the industry, right?
Hmm.
So the path is there. People have to have the preparation for. The other thing is like the preparation for career in VLSI. Of course, you need to learn the fundamentals. You should focus on digital electronics.
Hmm.
You should be the like focused on semiconductor physics, microprocessors, all this thing, right? You need to get some practical industry tools when you are in colleges like
Got
Cadence,
it.
Synopsys, Graphics, all those things. Yeah, so some people like after colleges, they are doing some of this internships
Hmm.
already in the electronics companies, right? Or
Got it.
either way, if people are not doing masters, there are other courses also available which people are opting for.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So my actual concern is this, Dimple.
Mm-hmm.
So consider this year is like 2025
Mm-hmm.
and someone who is in first year
Mm-hmm.
or in his 12th, so he will be graduating after 3 or 4 years from now, so
Yeah.
that will be year 28, 29.
Okay.
So if we talk about that scale after
Mm-hmm.
5 years from now,
Mm-hmm.
like do you think companies will hire the freshers or they will just use the AIs for their development work?
See, there are every kind of role in an industry, Rahul.
Mm-hmm.
So, with whatever I had told, right, with the VLSI field growing rapidly in India, so
Mm-hmm.
there are jobs for freshers also. I know the market
Got
is a
it.
little volatile
Mm-hmm.
right now, but there are hiring going on, right? You need to be at the
Hmm.
right place at the right time. That's it. And you have to be very well prepared for the position because,
Makes
the
sense.
competition is high. People are really highly skilled, right? So if you
Hmm.
are true to that role, companies will take you. It's not like that. So every year the companies hire interns, right, from the fresh out of colleges. So I would not say that no, this role is just for experience.
Mm-hmm.
So VLSI industry has like a very vast role, right? So experienced, entry level, um, of course 10 plus, 20 plus. So this every roles are there. It's not like that no freshers will not get an entry.
Got it.
Because at,
Okay.
at yeah, at one time or at one point I was also a fresher, right? I joined as an
Yeah.
intern.
Hmm. Yeah, makes sense. I think the skills and the right time, right place, that is
True,
the recipe. Yeah.
true.
Okay. So with that said, Dimple, like as you said, you were intern, then you progressed to a like say great career. So
Yeah.
can you give some guidance to the students like who wants to be at Intel or who wants to make their career in VLSI?
Hmm.
So what is the career path? How should they prepare for it?
Okay. So first and the very foremost thing which I actually pressurize students with is getting their fundamentals clear. Okay, you need to know the
Mm-hmm.
basics. Okay, people are lacking in basics sometimes. So I think focus on all the basics related to digital electronics, CMOS design, semiconductor physics, microprocessors, right? Apart from that, get some practical knowledge on industry tools like Cadence, Synopsys. Earlier there was a issue with the licenses. Okay, this or colleges
Mm-hmm.
has to pay a huge amount to get the licenses for
Okay.
this tools. Okay, but now with
Mm-hmm.
all this things going on in India, with all this VLSI enhancements, right? They are
Mm-hmm.
getting the tools very easily. So,
Okay.
yeah, so there is also this shift also has been there, Rahul. So I think, you need to get those experiences. Then, of course, if they have internships also, that's a plus for getting a job. You need to build some skills and learn some scripting languages like Python,
Mm.
Oracle for automation, which is very important, right? And then network and apply, right? So use LinkedIn, some VLSI webinars are there, connect with people who are
Got it.
already there in the field. Yes.
Okay. And is there any specific courses like that can like say add weight to your resume?
Okay, so see, if you have a degree and that's a proper channel too,
Mm-hmm.
but people are not going for masters and they do opt for some of the VLSI training platforms which are
Okay.
available, and there are institutes which are providing the VLSI training for 6 to 8 months. I know about, I think
Mm-hmm.
even Silicon uh, VLSI expert or something. They do provide the trainings. Whatever path you choose, you have to go and get the interview opportunity, right? So that's there. But
Got
in
it.
colleges, whatever there is this top tier ones, companies do go there to hire the interns or the entry grad level students.
Got it. Got it. And this 6 to 8 month of
Mm-hmm.
course, will it add any benefit? So if I talk about like say from my domain, after I completed my college, I
Mm-hmm.
just directly jump into the job.
Mm-hmm.
But few of my friends went for a course called CDAC. That's another 5 to 6 months of course. So after CDAC, they got good companies, good jobs. So is the same that happens with this VLSI thing? Like if after the college I do the course, will I get any benefit top of it? For example, there are two persons. First, who got job right after the college, and second, who did the extra course
Mm-hmm.
and he also got the job. So will the initial pay scale matters? Like will both will be treated on same skills or what? How this works?
Okay. So let's say if there are two candidates, candidate A and candidate B,
Mm-hmm.
their channels were different. As you said, after graduation,
Yeah.
one got the job and
Mm-hmm.
one has to do some course and then got the job. So,
Yeah.
companies have their entry level pay scale decided. So
Mm-hmm.
they start with that. There is a base pay for the freshers. Okay, so there, they will assign a grade to you. So if you're an undergraduation, there will be grade. If you are you are a holder of master degree, there will be the grade, right? Whatever
Yes.
channel it is, if the person is under graduation, because I don't think so this CDAC is a degree. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a course, right? So
Yes.
you are still under graduation if you haven't done the masters. So they
Got
will
it.
assign you a grade, and the base or whatever the base pay is, they are fixed for the companies for the entry level, and
Hmm.
they pay you and they treat you on the same page. And companies also do have the programs for the masters,
Mm-hmm.
like the MTech. People, the colleagues with me have opted for that, and they have done their masters while they had 7 years of experience or 10 years of experience also. So
Got it. Got
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah, thank you. I think Dimple that sums up. I have asked all the questions that I have prepared for today.
yeah.
So it was a really good discussion with you. And if someone wants to connect with you, are you available on different channels also?
Yeah, so of course, because I told you about the mentorship
Hmm.
also, people
Yeah.
can connect to me on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, there is a platform called TopMate where people have the liberty to book the calendar. Can block the calendar, and I will be available for them to guide. So that is one thing. I think everything will be on LinkedIn. They'll get to know. And then there
Got
is
it.
my email ID, which is dimplemondeofficial@gmail.com. If something they want to talk off site.
I think that's great, Dimple. And once again, thank you for having time.
Thank you so much, Rahul. Thank you for having me. I hope that whatever we have discussed will benefit some of them at least to
Yeah,
some
definitely.
extent. Yeah.
Definitely.